Hi everyone, I am Gaurav Tiwari, and in this video we are going to learn about hash maps. Hash map is a really very important data structure in DSL Go. Like in most of the interview questions, may that question be on trees, graph, dynamic programming, array or string, somewhere or the other we make use of hash map in most of the question. It's not like in every question, but in most of the question hash map is used. So if this data structure is so much important, now let's understand what this data structure actually is and why it is so much important. So okay, so let's assume a scenario. You want to store the marks of the student, and in the program, you want to get to know how much marks did any student get. Like for student A, you are storing the marks. For student B, for student C, for every student, you are storing the marks. And at any point of time, you want to know that how much marks did the student F got or did the student D got. So how will you know? The first approach for this question would be we will make a class called student. That class will have two variables, two parameters. First is name, which would be of type string, and the other one would be marks, which would be of type integer. And in this student class we will make a list of objects of student class. Like the list would be s1, s2, s3, s4, s5, s6 and so on. It's not the actual code, it's just the pseudo code for explanation, so don't look at the syntax. Suppose we have lots of students, so like if I want to know that how much marks did the student get whose name was John. So how will we know this? We will first go into s1 and we will see if the name of s1 is John. If it is, so we will return the marks, but if not, so we will move further. We will keep moving further. Suppose the value of s5 is actually John. Let's assume. Let's assume s5 is John. So if I want to know the marks of John, what we will do is we will loop through the array, and once we reach the s5, we will see that the name of s5 is John. So we got to our desired student. We will return the marks of it, 35. So suppose the size of this array is like a million item, and I want to know the marks of the last student, the element which is at the last position. So just for knowing the marks of the student, I have to do million numbers of iteration. So it's like to in worst case, to know the marks of any student, it would take O of n time complexity. So which is like too much. If we are storing this data structure into array, it would take O of n time complexity. But what if I can say you like it can be done in O of one time? Like I don't even have to iterate through the whole array to know the marks of a student. Like to if John is placed at the even if John is placed at the last position, I will get to know the marks of John instantly. Like I don't have to iterate through the whole list of objects. Is there any way to do that? Yes, there is. In such scenarios we make use of hash map. Now let's understand how hash map is structured so that this marks is instantly obtained. Okay, the values inside the hash map is stored in form of keys and values. Like the structuring of hash map goes as key and value pairs. So now let's understand what key and value pair is. Suppose we have like we were talking about students and marks. Suppose we have four students, A, B, C and D. So these are the names of student, and every student got some marks. Suppose he got this much, he got this much, he got 82 and he got 1. Suppose this is the marks of these four students. So how hash map will store this? For key and value we have to define its data type. So the here what our key would be, the name of the student. So the name is a string, so the key would be string, and value is the marks, so marks would be integer. So hash map will store the data like this. First the value is A. For A it will store the marks. For A the marks is 23. For B the marks is 52, for C it's 82, and for D it's 1. So in this way the hash map stores all the values. So once all this data is stored into the hash map, suppose I want to know the marks of C. So what suppose I am naming this hash map as H or map. Suppose this whole value is hash map is stored as map. Okay, So if I want to know the marks of C, so what I will do is I will simply write map.get C, and it will give me the marks of C, that is 82. It will directly give me the marks of C, that is 82. So what's the benefit of this? Like, to know the marks of C, we will get it in constant time. Like, the time required to get the marks is O of 1, we will instantly get it. In case of array, we had to iterate through the whole element, we have to loop till the last element. So the time complexity in case of array was O of n, we have also mentioned it here. But in case of HashMap, it's just O of 1. So now let's understand how HashMap does it so fast that it gets the value in O of 1. Like, even the way I represented it, even if we look at it, like, to know the marks of C, common sense is that we have to go through all the list. But what HashMap does is HashMap automatically knows the value of C is 82. How it actually internally works like that, let's see and let's understand that thing. Okay, so internally, to store these values, HashMap also somewhere or other make use of array internally. But how it make use of array so optimally that only in O of 1 time we get the value, we get the value in O of 1 time, we don't have to loop through the whole array. How it does it, let's understand this. HashMap has a very important thing called as hash function. The core of HashMap goes with this hash function. So now let's understand what is this hash function. What hash function is like, it takes any value. Hash function will take any value. It can be string or list or object or boolean or integer, there can be any value. So suppose this hash function takes a string a. So what hash function does is, for any object, it generates a very big number. Like, for suppose for a it has generated a number 27. Actually it generates very big number normally, but let's assume for a it has generated 27. So similarly, hash will generate number for everything. Like, if I am passing hash for string b, it would also generate a number. But there's a surety that for string b there would be some other number, there won't be the same number as for string a. If suppose for string a it generated 27, for string b it could be any number, suppose it is 763. And if I call the hash function again for string a, so again it would generate the same number that was generated for string a previously, it would again generate 27. So this hash is like some mathematical function which converts any Java object into a number. So HashMap works on basis of this. So now let's understand how HashMap make use of this hash function. Okay, as I said, HashMap also internally makes use of array. Suppose the HashMap which we are talking about, suppose it makes use of array of size 10. So initially these are the index of the array and this is the actual array. Initially all the values in the array is empty, so I have shown it with this underscore which represents that the element is empty and the size of array is 10. So how HashMap stores the value, now let's see. Suppose first we got the value of a, so it will calculate the hash value of a. What we get the hash value of a, it's 27. So are there 27 places in this array? No, so there is no 27 places. So what we will do is, we will take this hashed value and we will do it modulus with size of array. So what's the size of array? It's 10, so we will do it modulus 10. So if we do 27 modulus 10, it would always generate a number which is less than 10. It will always generate the number which is less than 10. So what it would generate? 7. Is 7 index there in array? Yes, it is. So we will go to the position 7 and at that position we will put our value. So what was the value for a? The marks for a, student a, was 23. So at position 7 we will put 23. Okay, now for student b also we calculated the hash value, it's 763. 763 is out of bounds. So the last position is 9, so 763 won't fit. So what we will do is, we will do modulus 10, and after doing modulus 10, what we get? We get as 3. So we will go to the index 3 and store the marks of b. The marks of b was 52. So at index 3 we have stored 52. And in this way we will also calculate the hash value of c. Suppose the hash value of c, we are getting any number, suppose Suppose for C we got the hash value of 534, we will do it by modulus 10, and we got the position 4, so we will go to position 4 and store the marks of C. The marks of C was 82. At position 4 we stored 82. Okay, and we stored, suppose we don't have the student D, let's make it shorter. We stored all the values inside the hash map. So now if I want to know what marks A has got, so if it was normal array, if it was not hash map, so we have to iterate through the whole array. But since it is hash map, what we will do is we will calculate the hash value of A. The hash value of A would be 27. Okay, so for 27 we will do modulus 10 and we will get the position. We got this position 4, so we will simply go on position 4 and see what the number was. The number at position 4 was 82, so we will simply return 82. Like for the marks of student A is 82. Wait a minute. For 27, if we do modulus 10, it would generate 7. So it means that we have to go to the position 7. The position 7, the value is 23, so we will just simply return 23, that the marks of student A is 23. So if we want to know the marks of any student, how much time we took, like we just have to do one modulus operator, we just have to calculate the hash value and then we have to do modulus operator and we will get the marks. We don't have to loop through the whole array, we just got the actual value in just a few mathematical steps. So this overall step only takes very little time, so that's why it is said as it takes O of 1 time complexity hash map. In this way hash map outperforms array when we want to see that if the element is present or not in such scenarios. One more important thing that you should observe here is the first value we put in map was for A, the second value we put was for B, and third value we put was for C. But if we observe this array, the first value is 52, which was for B, the second value is 82, which was for C, and the third value is 23, which was for A. So it means like in whichever order we put the elements in hash map, after putting those elements into the hash map, the order is not maintained. Like we can't be sure that A would be at first position only because we are putting it at first. It can be at last, it can be in middle, or it can be at anywhere inside the hash map. So in scenarios where we want to maintain the position of the element, like where we want to keep the track of the index of element, we don't prefer hash map, because hash map doesn't stores the positioning of element, doesn't keeps the order of the element same. It just stores the keys and value, but the key and value can be in any order, the order is not fixed. That's it. So now let's move further, and now let's write actual Java code to see how hashmap actually works. Okay, now let me create a new package for hashmap where we will write all the code of hashmap. Okay, in this package I will create a new file, new Java class. Let me increase the font a little bit. Okay, so let's create a hash map of the same scenario, like storing the marks of the student. So in this way, hash map, you can see that the hash map is in java.utils package. If I double click here, it's automatically got imported. So in this thing, for storing the marks of the student, the key was the name of student, and value was the marks of student. So this name would be string and marks would be integer. So this way we define, for key it would be string and value it would be integer, and we can give any variable name. So let me name it as map and new hash map. So in this way we define the hash map. Suppose now I want to store the marks of the students. So for first student we will store the marks, map.put. You can see the function as put. We defined that key would be string, that's why in suggestion we can see string key, and the value would be integers, that's why second variable is integer. So map.put, suppose first student is Ram and he got marks as 83. Okay, if I did this 83 into as a string, so it's showing an error. Why this error is showing? It's saying that required type was integer and I provided the string. It's because I said the value would be integer, so I have to provide integer only here. I cannot provide the string. So instead of this string 82, I have to write it like this: map dot put Aman 25, map dot put Akash 84, map dot put Rahil. Suppose I have put it the marks of all the students. Now let's try to print this map, and now let's run this program. Here's the output. Here we got the output of all the marks. If you observe, the first value I put was for Ram, but in the output the first value is for the Aman, so we can see that the order is not maintained in case of HashMap. We were talking like, if I want to get the marks of Aman, so how I have to do is, let's see, marks of Aman is map dot get so for getting the marks of Aman, we have to write map dot get, and in get we have to pass for which key I want the value. So the key is AMAN Aman, so I'm passing that and I got the marks. It's in variable Aman marks. Let me print it and I'll comment this line. Now let's run the program. Marks of Aman is 25. Let me put a space here. So here if you observe that getting the marks of Aman was done in constant time, like if it was array, we have to loop through all the elements and see where the Aman lies and what is the marks for Aman. But since it's a hash map, we will get this marks in constant time, in O of 1 time complexity. So now let's get aware of more functions of hash map. Like if you write down map and dot, you will get the suggestion of all the functions. So this is a clear function. It clears the hash map, like whatever value we have put, it will clear it all. Suppose I have put this 4 values and then I call the clear function, and after clear function I am printing the map. Now let's run this program. You can see that the map is empty because we called the clear function. Now let's check more functions. Map dot, suppose we want to print all the keys of the hash map. We just wanted to print key, not the values. So for that also we have a function like map dot key set. What this return? It returns the set of all the keys. So I will store this set of the key. Type of key is string, so set of string. Let me name it as key set. Okay, so in this key set we will get list of all the keys, just keys: Ram, Aman, Akash and Rahil. So let me print this set and I'll comment these 2 lines. Okay, the variable name was key set. Now let's run this program. You can see that we got the list of just keys, not values. Similarly, if we want just values, so there is also function for that. Instead of this, we have to write map.values and it returns the collection of integers. So here it would be collection of integers, and it's showing red because we have to import it. Let's import it. And now the variable name should be meaningful, so I will change it as values. Now let's run the program. We got just the values, not the keys. So these are the some common functions that you will use in map. Let's get and there's one more important common function that you will mostly use. Suppose if we want to check some key is present or not, suppose we have 4 students, Ram, Aman, Akash and Rahil, and one more student got admitted in the class called name as Gaurav. So if we want to check if marks of Gaurav is already there or not, so let's do that. So we are checking if it's already there or not, so it would be a boolean. Boolean is Gaurav there, or is Gaurav present, and for that we have a function called map dot contains key, and in that we will pass the key. We are checking it for Gaurav, and after that we will print our key. Is Gaurav present? Let me comment this all code, and now let's run this program. So it's saying false because we haven't put the value for Gaurav. If I suppose put the value map dot put, and if I run the program now, you can see that it's true. So these are the common functions that you will mostly use in map: contains key, put function, or this function called as values, or this function called as key set. It's not this one, key set I was talking about. Map dot key set, it gives the set of all keys. So we will look into more of the functions of map when we will do problems on it. So we got the basic understanding of hash map. We already know how arrays work in Java. So now let's jump to some problems in which we will use both concepts of array as well as hash map, and we will get stronger in it.